Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Today is 7/7/2024 on the ancient Greco-Roman civic calendar. It is 2024 on the ancient moon calendar, 2025 on the ancient sun calendar. It is 10,066 on the ancient Yoruba calendar. And we could go all day talking about the many different calendars that we have. We have cosmological calendars, astrological calendars. We have birth chart calendars. We have zodiac calendars. We recorded everything. We've always been known throughout history to record everything. With that being stated, peace and grand rising. All rise and stand and remain standing into perpetuity and in accordance with the ancient Noahide laws as stated by this Holy Congress. This is a sovereign living ancient Article 3, Moorish American Al-Moroccan Universal Court action. We are the divine sovereign living justices and Egosum Pauline Denise Ritchie. My free chosen sovereign appellation is like tajiri Bay. All are in capitis diminutio nolo, in red ink, in propria persona sui juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes. We are capite et corpus juris legalis, which is our statement that we are the lawful and legal living natural head and body for our empire. All Moors are the divine, original, indigenous, sovereign, ancient, Al-Moroccan, Moorish American ascendants of the great pharaohs of Kemet and of the ancient Moabites, Canaanites, Shemites, Israelites, Cushites, and Hittites. Our full faith and trust, our allegiance, our honor, our credit, and our energy are hereby vested in ourselves, for we are the people who are the original indigenous, natural divine, sovereign ancient empire state for Morocco. We're the de jure Moorish National Republic federal government. We're ancient Washington District for Columbia. We're the Universal Moorish American Consulate and the Earth-wide Article 3 Moorish American Consular Court. Today, we are being the law by our sovereign status, which is the original indigenous, natural divine, sovereign ancient Article 3, living United States District for Columbia Court, and we are the sovereign fiduciaries, original creditors, executors, trustees, divine ministers, possessors, grantors, grantors, and title trustors for all causes for action. We are peace. We are one nation, one state, one empire, and one God. We hereby recognize ourselves and accept our sovereign divine ascension. We do possess in our custody all land, all natural resources, and all commerce. We, the true living God nations, are not at war, and we exercise and demonstrate all sovereign rights at this time and at all points in time, nunc pro tunc. Islam. So we will share our screen in just a moment, but before we do that, we, that means me and the ancestors within us, will to just send a huge thank you to those who gave State of the Empire State addresses to the nations. I will to thank you. This is the first video that we've done, the first Congress that we've done, where I just watched it over and over and over because I'm just so, I'm so proud and just excited about how competent everyone is, how fit to govern everyone is, how just your addresses were so fitting of the nobility, and that's probably the most accurate way I could state that, is that each and every Empire State address is just, I'm proud that it's on our record that the nobility is speaking so competently and so, there's so many things I could say about each statement that was made this past Thursday. There was no war energy. There was no, it was just competence all the way around. The law was spoken, just amazing. And so I just, from the width and the infinity of our hearts, we thank each and every one of the Chief Justices who spoke on Thursday. It was amazing, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And I just so that you know, I just listen to them over and over because it's just so competent and so high level and first class. I just loved it. So, and the feedback that we're getting from others is the same, is the same thing. So, with that being stated, we also just want to put a few things on the public record. Here, let us share our screen. And we're going to, here, let's just share our screen briefly. And we are going to go ahead and lock the Congress. Okay. So when we first woke up in 2017, one of the things that we heard was that Moors were saying, you know, they don't recognize our paperwork, and no one recognizes. And we thought, let's just demonstrate a few times and see if we can get a feel for why the Moors felt like no one recognized them. Is there anyone who wills to, just one moment, to state here, just a moment, let us make sure that, okay. Is there anyone who wills to state if you felt that way? If you felt that way as well when you first woke up.
Aisha felt that way when she was evicted last week.
Is there anyone who felt that way in terms of not being recognized in Islam Empress?
Yes, I did in the beginning because they were sending my documents back, and
Mo.
Go ahead, Empress.
And at that time, you know, less erudite than I am now, it felt like a rejection, and in a way, I felt a little helpless. Like if they're not going to accept it, then there's nothing I could do. I don't feel that way now, but I did at the beginning.
Yeah.
You live in a fucking trailer thing.
Yes. Is there anyone else? Because I know that Islam nobility.
Yeah, I felt the same way.
Your money will always get rejected.
I felt the same way, but once I realized that the mailing system was key to me, that I knew the system works.
Yeah. Yeah.
Islam.
Yes. Islam Empress.
Yes, we felt the same way, but we had strong will, and none of ours got sent back. So we're just moving on.
Yes, yes. When we first did our first POW demonstration back in 2017, we sort of felt like maybe they don't know, but then there was always something saying they know something, and I couldn't put my finger on it, on like what exactly was showing me that they know who we are now. Because the things we were saying, no one was really, they were not saying that's not true, that's not true. That's not what they were saying. Moors were just confused by why they were being seemingly arrested and detained and things like that. But there was always something within us that said, somebody somewhere knows something, because they're not saying what you would expect people to say if you are completely crazy. If people say things that are completely crazy, that are insane, seemingly, you expect a certain reaction. You know, if someone says, you know, I'm Mickey Mouse, you know, people are going to be like, okay, they forgot to take their medicine today or something like that. But when we were stating who we were, and when we, you know, initially, and this is at first, no one was saying, you're not Moors, you're not Moors. You know, when we were doing our demonstrations, no one said that. Not one person said that. They always said other things or didn't say anything. So we've been thinking about that and how that works. And, you know, again, Moors were saying, you know, the Moors were the only ones saying that people don't recognize them. But see, we missed, whoever was saying that, I can't say we missed, because obviously we knew who we were, because we went in with both feet. But, and many of us did, many Moors have done that. But in many cases, because we will that you see look carefully at what was not being said. That's the point we will to make at this time, is people were saying things, but what were they not saying? That should have told every one of us that yes, we're exactly who we state that we are. Think about, there's a couple of things I will to think about, that you think about. Evidence is found in what was not being said rather than what was being said. And we've pointed this out before, but we will to point it out again, because there are some other things we're going to add to it. Have any of you, and if you have, please *6 so that we can hear your experience. But have any of you, of us, ever had a problem with immigration services? Any of us had a problem with immigration services?
No.
I have not.
No. The fact that, you know, people weren't deported is proof that this is our land.
It's also proof, though, and you're absolutely correct, Empress. It's also proof that everybody knew.
Bullshit.
That's my point. Everybody knew.
Yep.
No matter what city you were at, listen, many, and this is my point, as many times as we have been, and I'm going to put it in quotes, arrested, not one single actor that was acting as a police officer ever questioned our status. Not once did they say, do you have a green card? Or do you have an immigration card? Where are you from? What's your immigration status? How long have you been in America? Can you prove where you're from? None of that was ever asked of us, ever.
He knew you were insane. That's why. Duh.
And I'm talking about even before we woke up. Many of us, and that's the part right there. No matter what city you were at, if you got arrested, quote unquote, in California, or you got arrested in Georgia, or you got arrested in Alabama, or Michigan, or wherever you got arrested at, not one single time did one single actor acting as a police officer ever question. They knew by these faces. They never questioned where we're from. Do we, or what is our status? Do we have a green card? You know, should they go to immigration or not? Now, we know that the actors acting as immigration services were around, I guess, during the enactment. But not one of us did they hustle over there and say, oh, this one here needs to go through immigration services. Not one time. That's proof that they knew who we are. Always known. Big flashing Q. Everyone knows that. It's just a bright light showing the truth. And see, go ahead, Empress.
Oh, excuse me. I remember we went over this a couple of years ago, and you showed where, like, in your city, where it's part of their policy to ask. And I found it in my city as well.
And never once did they ask us. Never. Not one time. Not once. All those more that went through that enacted system. You didn't go to immigration services, you went to jail, prison, but never to immigration, ever. That should have told every one of us something. Now, don't think
I used to be evicted.
Don't think that the boule didn't know. Don't think that, you know, as our grand sheik calls them, the black leader guys. They knew. They had to know. Because they were the ones on the screen talking about how many of us were going to jail and how they were going to, you know, do things about the system, and every other politician was going to fix that, knowing they couldn't, knowing they could not. Everyone who was acting as a police officer knows who you are. On site. On site. They know. And that's the proof. Islam nobility.
What you talk about, like?
Every one of them knew. Every one. They all knew. That's how you know, too, that we don't have to keep playing those games. It's a game. It's a game. Jail, listen, we've been in those courtrooms. And I'm calling them a courtroom because we were there. That's the only thing that makes it a courtroom is when we're there. Other than that, it's not a courtroom. No matter where you go, it's not a courtroom unless the Moors are there judging and being the justice. Islam, which we do that everywhere. So this should also make us all aware that if we were ever going to have things that identify us, like ID cards, identification cards, and passports, or anything like that, if we were going to have it, we must produce it. Driver's license. If you're going to have one, you must have the right one. We're not saying you have to have one, because Moors don't have to have a driver's license because we have the right to travel. We know that. But when you're doing commerce, which most of us are, because you go to the grocery store instead of going hunting, then, okay, we must issue our own. We must. We must. So we are the living. We are definitely the living. We live. The energies are doing what they should be doing. Speaking of energies, by the way, Islam Empress.
Before you continue,
Yes.
if not us, then who? Islam, I yield.
And that is why the owl, the owl is a symbol in things like tarot and fortune telling and things like that. The owl says who, because there is no other. It has to be us. It has to be us. And it has to be now. It has to be now. And it is now. We know that. Islam Empress.
And I just want to make this point too. Whoever it is, if they're the ones to do it, they must come with proper documentation to prove that they have the authority to do that.
Oh, yes. And proper documentation is spiritual first. It's spiritual first. Your spirit will tell who you are. And then the things you say. And then the things you do. And it's really the other way. Spirit first, then what you do, then what you say, and then what is written. That is how who you are is demonstrated. Again, our nobility and our vast estate is not assumed, it is proven. It's proven. So even with regard to the Empire State, the addresses that were done, you can tell by the energy that's the nobility speaking. You can tell by the energy, the competence that is the nobility speaking. So with that being stated, now that we have properly stated who we are, we've put it on the public record, we're competent at doing so, and all of that. Now we see that those who were pretending to be us are having problems because they have to find their proper identity. And it's not a matter of finding it, it's a matter of we're the ones who issue and state who everyone else is. So there's a story that came up, another one, because we showed you a couple before. But this one is about someone, and he is a modern European. And he was in the U.S. military in his enactment. And he is fighting for his legal status in America because someone had promised him or let me put it this way, the U.S. promised him citizenship if he would join the military, the U.S. military. So he did what they told him to do, and then he retired, and he was about ready to collect, quote unquote, Social Security, and Social Security stopped him at the door, saying, no, you're not legal. Now, Morris, listen, that told me, again, and we know that the work that we do is valid. However, that emphasized that the turning of the legal system back to what it should be has happened. Because now we're not the ones trying to prove that we're supposed to be here. Now everyone else has to prove who they are. And yes, they will have to do that the way that we've placed on the public record. That is how that is done. It must be done by way of this nation. So, and it has to come from our courts. And they have to be using the right tender. Justice Warren, what are you stating about Florida? Because Florida that's the Alhambra. That's the Red House. The Red House is at Florida. So of course they know who the Moors are. And so now Justice Warren put in the chat that happens a lot at Florida territory. It will, again, as we continue standing and being ourselves, everything has to go back to what it should be. Everyone was just waiting on us. So, Moors, you should feel very just let that sink in. Let me put it that way, because you can't tell sovereigns how to feel even. But it's important that we continue standing, and we will. We know that. We're just saying some of these things for the sake of the new Moors that are coming in, that everyone has always known who we are. And as we continue demonstrating, it's going to be, things are getting a lot easier. Yes, Justice Warren put in the chat, they are rejecting Social Security to people who are not legal after working all those years. Those people have to correct their status. And then here's the thing. Think about this. Think about this. The only way they'll be able to collect those benefits is if they collect the benefits using more sovereign delarium gold receipts. That's the only way they'll be able to collect benefits, because that other thing, the enactment is done. They have no money to give them. So they're going to have to come through the government, which is us, and they're going to have to accept the real money. Gold, silver, more sovereign delarium, all the same. And let me just clarify this even about the Constitution that we were reading, thinking that was the real Constitution, where it states that gold and silver coin is only to be given in payment of debt, because the definition for debt is not what it used to be. More sovereign delarium is absolutely what we should be using. See, Moors don't have debt, and our subjects don't have debt either. It's something, it's completely different from what we've been told. We don't have debts, but we do have, and obligations is not the right word either. There is accountability, let me use that term. there is accountability where money is concerned, but it's not debt as in death debt. It is living accountability where money is concerned. So those who are, even those who are about to retire from the military and all of that, again, this, and I'll put the link to this story in the chat. This one who I just put the link in the chat for this particular story, but this one who thought that he was doing something, he thought he was joining one thing but was joining something else. In that video, and let this be clear about where the wordplay comes in at and how everybody was fooled. Because the Biblios, the Bible, even says that even the most elect would be fooled in that time, in that day. But in the video, this is a clip that we took from the video that we just linked in the chat. And they were pointing out to this modern European in the video that the Department of Defense, quote unquote, does not sanction bringing immigrants into the U.S. military under false promises of obtaining citizenship. And then a little further down it says non-citizens who qualify for enlistment under the law are qualified for expedited naturalization. However, what they were saying is individual pursuit between the individual and the United States Citizenship and Immigration Services. So what they're saying is you can't get citizenship from the U.S. They're saying it must come from the, and they spelled it all the way out, United States Citizenship and Immigration. So even there, they're playing with the words. Okay, it's a play on words. I did not put that other video, that link in the chat. Let me go ahead and put that out. And I'll put the original. Is someone saying something? No? Okay. Okay, and let us put the proper here. There's the right link. I just put it in the chat again, twice. So even there, they know that there's, playing on words. That's why having our own language was so important, because we get to define the words, and the words are automatically defined by way of our intention. And we control the letters, the numbers, and all of that. So, Moors, we will to point out that everything is back to what it should be, in that we're not having to continuously prove who we are. We don't have to do that. We are who we are. Everyone has always known who we are. All we do is continue being who we are. We don't have to keep. And see, here's the thing too, for those who have U.S. driver's license and so on and so forth, that does not prove anything except that you're considered really undocumented. Because even in this particular video, the person in the video had all types of IDs and ID cards and all types of things. None of it helped. When it comes to money, none of it helped. None of it. Because none of it is valid. It's not valid. So we would encourage and highly suggest that all Moors, all original indigenous ancient Moors get ID card makers, and I see something else coming through even with that. So for those who feel that it's important that they have ID, get your own ID card maker. But I'm seeing something else developing there on a much larger scale. So it's not mandatory to have it, but for the sake of those around you, it would not be a bad idea to have an ID card maker so that you can make driver license and nationality cards and things of that nature, and state security cards and merchant cards and things of that nature. It wouldn't hurt to have that. But I am seeing the ancestors are showing us something even bigger coming through regarding that. So, and of course we'll, as clarity continues to present, we will bring forth those things that our ancestors are giving us as appropriate. Nationality documents. For those who will to declare your nationality, it is the law that everyone be properly identified. You can't tell sovereigns what to do, but you can tell those who don't know that they're sovereigns what to do. That's obvious. You can tell everyone else what to do. And when we say tell them what to do, we're talking about point them to the law. The law is that everyone be properly identified. So, yes, Belinda has put something in the chat. Belinda, yes, we'll do that. I did want to let you know that I received your package, and I thank you very much for it. It is much appreciated. Thank you. We will go ahead and unlock the meeting so that Miguel can come in. So for those who will to declare your nationality, it is going to be imperative that you do so. And the link that we are putting in the chat is for those. There it is right there. And you can pull the following documents: document number 4, number 10, 29, 30, 31, 35, and 36. These documents with this link right here are the 6 documents that are most important for those seeking their freedom from fraudulent capitalism, freedom from fraudulent words, freedom from pretend quote-unquote government. That's not real government. We're the real government, and so on and so forth. And then the study of those documents, and we suggest that you executor the documents first. Go ahead and do them, put them on the public record, and then study them. Because it's important that that those documents be placed on the public record. Someone sent something about delirium. I just got an inbox about delirium. Can anyone send? If you get an email address, we all should be able to do this. And this is important that this comes up. Everyone that is a Congress member, and that's all Moors, should be able to forward Moorish sovereign delirium to everyone else, all the other Moors who will to have it. Is there anyone here who does not have access to Moorish sovereign delirium in addition to the one who inboxed me? Is there anyone else who wills to have Moorish sovereign delarium? Original, indigenous, ancient Moors who wills to have Moorish sovereign delarium.
Don't bother, because the shit don't work. She don't even need it herself. Pauline doesn't.
So if you would place your email in the chat. Place your
When's the last time you saw Pauline using it?
Place your emails in the chat, and we will get it to you. Islam nobility.
And it's like, I know you have sent me the link before.
Maybe you can buy a voice box.
Yeah, maybe you can get a monkey.
Don't do that, nobility. Go ahead. What were you saying?
I need to get that link to in order to be able to print the lawyer. You gave it to me in a few minutes ago, but my laptop went down, and then I got it back on a couple of minutes ago.
Mm-hmm.
But I need that link to. It will say that.
Yeah. So there's not a specific link that's any different from actually being able to print Moorish sovereign delarium. So if you have the templates for Moorish sovereign delarium, you should be able to print them.
Okay. Now I thought that they had been resized, like 2 inches by 6. Was it 2 inches by 6?
It's a little over. It's about almost 3 by 6. It's 3 by 6 because 3 and 6 equals 9. So it's 3 by 6.
Yeah.
Fiat is 2 something by 6.
Okay. I think I got them because you sent them to me before.
Okay. I'll have someone that is a part of Congress to send them.
Okay, thank you.
Empress Angel, she says she sent them to those who asked. So Empress Angel, if you'll ensure that those email addresses that are, and those who are here, if you will send your emails to Empress Angel, she will make sure that you get more sovereign delarium. Justice, the justice who inboxed me, she will get it to you if you inbox her right now as well. Everyone, we're gonna highly suggest this again. All original, indigenous, ancient Moors should have more sovereign delarium in your hands, in your access. Oh, that's so good. Empress Gloria, would you state that on the record so that they can hear that everything is working the way it should?
I'm Gloria Velishkovsky Bay. Empress Angel sent me her, what you call them, her documents.
Mm-hmm.
It's her template.
Mm-hmm.
And I printed them off, and I was able to do the front and the back.
Yes.
And then fold them over, and I had my DeLoreans. And then I printed, however I did it, I got them all now, and I'm happy. Thank you, Empress.
Beautiful, beautiful. And hopefully we're all using the same delarium, right? Yes, we are. They shouldn't be altered or changed in any way, and we know they're not. Because someone had asked on social media about the delarium templates and have they changed? They haven't changed since we introduced them in 2021. So 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago, we introduced delarium, more sovereign delarium gold receipts. They still look the same. They just, some of them have a place where you can write in a receipt number, and they say gold receipt. So, but the basic template hasn't changed. The faces and the living nobility that are on the delarium is still the same. Empress Angel, would you, in fact, let me just a moment. Empress Angel, I just sent you an inbox regarding sending some delarium to someone who's inboxing me about delarium. If you would please send them, inbox them and get the information, because they're saying that they have not received delarium and they've asked for delarium several times.
Okay.
We just want to be sure that they get it.
Yeah.
Because most of the people, in fact, everyone who has asked for delarium up to now has received it, with the exception of that particular noble. So we want to just make sure that everyone gets delarium. It's going to be very, very, very important that you have it, especially in the coming weeks. Just have it. The pictures should not be changed. We voted on them. We voted on them. So the pictures should not be changed. We voted on them. And once Congress votes something into law, we keep it that way until we vote to change it again. So, in fact, here's what we're going to do. If you all will give me just a moment to bring up my delarium on the screen, I'll just show you what they look like, just so that you can be sure that you have the delarium. Just a moment. Let me stop my screen sharing here while I look through and pull up my delarium file. Just a moment. And then what we'll do is put them on the screen so that you can see them. Okay. Let's just take a look here so that you can see them. And we'll just show you the first up to I think 100,000. So so the one, just a moment. Okay, so this is what, let me see if I can put this on the screen. Let's see if we can put this one on the screen so that everyone can see it. Select the items to share. Okay, so This is, for example, this is the $1 gold receipt with Prince Uriel Bay on it. This is the front of it. That's the $1. It's series A1, and this series was created in 2023, the civic calendar year, the ancient civic calendar. Accepted, recorded, and filed, Justice's Mailroom, 2023, August 3rd, King County Superior Court. So if you all will remember, we stated that when we first created Delarium, the first thing we did was take it down, or take it to, not down to, but take it to King County, and we call it the Supreme Court because we're the head of it, but King County Superior Court. And we got all of our Delarium stamped with the court stamp on it. Okay, knowing that we're the head, so we were not compromising anything. We issue all of our rulings generally from that court, or our international court, or our world court, or earth court. So we got all of them stamped and then put them on the public record, so that and again, we don't have any borders when it comes to our money. So when we got them stamped here at the county bank court, then that means that they're good on the land earthwide. There are no, because the jurisdiction is still one jurisdiction, one earthwide jurisdiction. Okay, so that's the front of the $1 Delarium. Let's see, and then this is, let's see if we can pull up the back. And it just says gold receipt. This is the back, with our great brother Prince Uriel Bay on it. And you can do your research on Brother Uriel. And again, we voted on our Delarium several different times. Actually, we voted on different aspects of Delarium. And then some decisions about Delarium, we made them as command decisions. Islam nobility.
Yeah, I don't think we were able to see the back of it.
Okay. Let's see if we can get that on the screen again.
Islam, Empress.
Islam nobility. That's one.
Do you think it would be possible to send a link to that page?
That is actually a drive on my computer. However, it wouldn't be a bad idea to maybe make a you know what, Justice Tonis, if you will give us a couple of days, we will create a file. We have to make room for it. That's why it takes some time. But we'll have it by Thursday. We'll take the time to clear the drive and make it so that you can access all of these. We had done this once before, in fact.
Right. Islam, thank you.
We will do that, nobility, with an update. That way we can just provide a link, and anyone who has the link can access Delarium for themselves. So this is the back of it, and it just says gold receipt. Again, nothing has changed except that it says what it really is a gold receipt. This is what supports the stamps that we create. So we create stamps, and we've been sending things back and forth to one another for years. Okay? And this is the money system that supports those stamps. And that trust account that is recognized earthwide. We've sent things everywhere with our stamps. And the post office and the Universal Postal Union recognizes everything that we've done. So that's just the one. Let's get the $5 let's go to the 10. We have a $5. I'll pull up the $10 more sovereign delarium. Here, let me pull up the $10 one so you can see that as well. This one, let's see, just a minute. 10, 20, 20. Okay, let's pull this one up then. Let me see if I can get this on the screen. Can you all see the 20 on the screen? It's Noble Khalid Muhammad.
Islam.
And again, it just says it states the series, and it states that it is legal tender and it's a gold receipt. And then this line on the left is where we write the receipt number from our own inventory. So whenever I'm issuing gold, the receipts, unless it's just a regular, a regular exchange, if there is documents that go with my delarium, then I align that gold receipt number with the documents and the court action that it goes with. Okay, so that everything matches, all the records match. And then this line on the right is a red line. It says in capitis diminution nolo, in propria persona sua juris, in proprio solo, and in proprio heredes nunc pro tunc. And then we just autograph here and put our right red thumbprint here. And this is the front of the $20 bill. And let's see. Let's get the back of the $20 bill so that you can see that as well. See if we can get that on the screen. Okay, and you should be able to see the back of the $20 Moorish Sovereign Delarium gold receipt. Accepted, recorded, and filed, Justice's Mailroom, 2023, August 3rd, King County Superior Court, which is, again, where we are. And when I say we, I mean all of us are the head magistrates at all courts. There is no court at earth that we are not the head of. Doesn't exist. You all are the head of King County Superior Court, just like I am. Islam, Empress.
A lot of these graphics I'm unfamiliar with on the delarium.
Mm-hmm.
Could I have Empress Angel send me a copy? I mean, a PDF on this on the delarium. Some of this I don't remember.
Okay, sure. And Empress Angel, hopefully yours looks similar to what I have here in terms of
Islam. I'm forwarding the original email that you sent me, so
Okay.
it's congruent and consistent.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Thank you, Empress.
Thank you, Empress.
Yes. So let me pull up. I'll just pull up a few more delariums. I'm going to go ahead and I was going to wait to pull this up, but I'm going to go ahead and pull up the $5 delarium. Let me see. No, this one, not that one. Let's see. This is the $5. This is the reverse of the $5 delarium. Hopefully you can see it. Let me put it on the screen. So when we first started doing, when we first stated that we were going to introduce our own money, this Empress here, this is Empress Kenya Houston L. She is the one who did the artwork and everything. She and I worked together for weeks on getting delarium to look a certain way. And it was her, this is Empress Kenya Houston L. It was her expertise that she gave to the nation regarding delarium. And when the ancestors first made it very clear to us that we would have to produce our own money, which we were glad to do, the moment I said yes in my spirit, about not even a whole week later, she emailed me the first designs of Moorish Sovereign Delarium, seemingly out of nowhere. But the ancestors had already made it so that I would not have to do all of that work by myself, which we would have been willing to do. But about a week after we said yes in our spirit, and we began stating that, yes, we're going to print our own money, Empress Kenya, the ancestors moved on her, and she came with the first iteration. And then she and I talked through the what she had seen in her spirit and what I had seen in my spirit, and put it together. And so it was actually, I felt that it was fitting that she be featured on the $5 bill, and because of her work, she stood up to do the work. And then we voted on others that would go on to delarium, and everyone that we voted to be on delarium at that particular time were put with the original creation of delarium. So our ancestors worked through us to produce it, and here's the thing: our nation, at some point, we may change who's on the delarium, or add others to it, or add other things to it, and we'll just vote again. At that time, if things come forward as it's continuing to do, which it will, at some point we may, and that's fine, Empress Angel. Empress Angel says she does not have the updated with the gold receipt info printed on it. And that's fine, because delarium is still the same delarium, even without the words gold receipt on it. And you will know to just write, to keep your records, just keep track of what you're issuing. That was the point of that, is we agreed to ledger our banking. So as we ledgered our banking, we just felt, okay, we'll introduce the words gold receipt on there, and put a place where a number can be written in, a gold receipt number, a court action number, just like you see on in the enactment on fiat, they have a serial number on them. Well, you can state what your ledger is going to look like and have your own numbering system, your recording system. And so that's what we're doing with Delarium. It has developed beautifully according to just us being willing to rebut fiat, really. And for that we're grateful. Let's see, that's the 5. We're 20. Let's show the 50. Let's see. And again, let's see. I believe this is the front. Just a moment. Here's one. We'll open that one. And I want to open the other one as well. Just we put a lot of hours, a lot of work, a lot of energy into our freedom. We put a lot of resources into our freedom as well. Just by being willing to free ourselves, and the payoff for that has been tremendous. And so that's why we state that when the ancestors inspire you to do something, you just go ahead and do it, and let nature take her course on whatever it is that you're inspired to do. Let me see if we can get that pulled up. I willed to pull up the other one as well. Let's see if we can get the other pulled up really quickly, because I do will to show other let's look at I will to show the 50. Okay, I'll just choose another one. 100, the 1,000. Let's see if we can pull that up. 1,000 more $7 gold receipt. Yes. Okay. And hopefully you all can see this one on the screen as well. So the templates that Empress Angel is sending out are absolutely what we should be sending out and sending to everyone. Because they match, again, everything that we're doing. We are, by sending out Delarium the way that we're sending it out, we are actually reprogramming our own minds to know that we have the authority to even have our own money. When we first started talking about having our own money, we even had some who said to us, "You can't produce your own money in somebody else's state. That's against the law." And I was thinking to myself, oh, wow. They still don't know that we're not in anyone else's state. That
Your funny money's still getting rejected left and right.
So they were trying to say, you know, you can't just pop up and produce your own money in someone else's state. That didn't make any sense to us at all. But it was clear that they were still programmed, you know, and we weren't even mad at them for that. We get it. We know that some are still programmed. Islam nobility.
Islam. This is Tona Salajah Bey, and I want to put something to rest right now. Okay? Because whatever's coming in is lying, because I have at this point, now keep in mind, I used to be a UPS man, so I know a lot of people who own businesses or used to. And basically, I've just been going to them with a stack of Delarium and telling them about how the dollar is not legal, how it's not backed by anything, and that they were told in 1933 this. And that the way to get around it is to, first we have our own everything, okay, which we're going to invite them into in their business if they want. I will fund it. And when I first started doing this, I think I told you I was doing this maybe 6 months ago.
Yes.
I would leave out of the place, and then when I'd come back a day later, there'd be Delarium on the ground.
Yeah.
Okay, in the last 3 days, I've talked to about 12 different merchants. Now, some of them are like looking at me weird, but most of them are putting it on the refrigerator behind them.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So now I made it clear to them that once this starts, we don't need the banks. We don't need any of that. You and I can do business with this ledger right here, plus and minus, eye to eye, and there's no way anybody can screw that. Nobody has told me no yet. Okay, and I want to point this out. One was a spaghetti factory. One is a merchant store at the end of my block that's run by Sufis. One is a Filipino restaurant. All three of them gave me services for the Delarium I gave you. So what I just proved to you, whoever is talking that crap, is that Delarium is being used right now.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Islam. Those that are saying that, they know better. They know that Delarium is being accepted. They know that already. We don't have to justify anything to them. If it wasn't working, they wouldn't be here. This is probably year number 5 or 6 that they've been here. If it's not working, why keep coming back? So you can hear all of this beautiful law. So we know that Delarium works. We've shown, we've demonstrated it. More have talked about it. We've given testaments about Delarium working. Right now, we're kicking it into high gear. And when I say kicking it into high gear, I mean kicking the energy, raising the energy and raising the level of everything that we do where Delarium is concerned. We have some demonstrations that we're doing that we're not going to talk about them right now, but Delarium, everyone is aware, everyone knows, just like they knew who we were all this time. They also know that they don't have a choice, that it's the law. It's not even about us saying, you know, do you want to do this? The Constitution says you will do it or you won't be on this land. So, you know, we're not tyrants, but the law will be the law. It is the law for the land, and everyone else was pretty much waiting for us to do it. That's all they were waiting for, is for us to do it. So that's what we're doing. Islam, Empress.
Without law, there's chaos. And what I see now is everyone except the Moors. I shouldn't say it that way.
Yeah, don't say it that way.
The ones who don't believe in us. I still warlike. Okay, let me straighten myself up. Anyway.
I love you, Empress Cynthia. I love you.
You know I do. I'm trying to be good. So I see everyone else trying to bring in their own made-up money. They have no grounds, no foundation for it, and we have it all. I don't get it. So what that says to me, some of us still need a little more erudition to how the earth law works.
Yeah.
So it's universal. There's no other place to go. Anyway.
And you know what? Those that are doing that, Empress, they're just modeling for us. They know they can't do that. They can't just, you know. If they could have done it, they'd have done it a long time ago. That's the point that we're, you know. They're just trying to show us how to continue doing it. In other words, just trying to jog our memory on what we've always done. You know. So all we have to do is keep moving, keep demonstrating. We're not in any hurry. We're going to take our time and demonstrate competently and peacefully. However, things are moving very quickly. Things are moving very quickly.
Islam,
Empress.
Yes, this is Empress Amani. I have a question. Did I hear you correctly that when we put our thumbprint on the delirium, we are also to put an autograph? So those are two things, right? Correct?
An autograph, a thumbprint. However you have your record set up, you know, if you're just going to issue them and let your signature and your thumbprint be the record that this came from you, that's fine as well. We're using gold receipt numbers just because of the inventory of the gold that it's connected to, but yours is still connected to gold too. And then what we do is we emboss ours with the government stamp.
So then do I need an embosser then? I need an embosser as well?
Empress, you're the government. Would the government not have an embossing and stamping and sealing? The answer is yes.
Really trying to get this to sink in.
Yes. Your court rulings as well.
Oh, my.
Yes.
Okay, one question. Hopefully this is not, I don't want to call it a stupid question. It's not.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing.
Right. Okay. So when I sign my autograph, does it matter if it's, you know, my name that I was born with or my appellation, my pre-chosen appellation?
It does not matter. It does not matter.
Perfect.
Because, see, all of those letters are in the right jurisdiction.
Okay.
Because, see, that's been the problem. That was the problem. Moors were thinking in the past that if they change their name to El Bey Allen Ali, that it would provide immunity from fake courts. But if you go to fake courts, no matter, you're not supposed to be there because you're the judge. If you go to any place like that, it's a jurisdictional issue. It's not what you call yourself. It's a jurisdictional issue. In our state, we can call ourselves whoever we will to call ourselves to be. We are that we are in our own jurisdiction, okay, which is earthwide. But in a fraudulent fake jurisdiction, it didn't matter then either, because there were some who went right on behind bars calling themselves L and B because they did not know quite yet how to demonstrate that they're not supposed to be there. How to demonstrate personam jurisdiction. That means the protection of your person that you own.
Yes.
The person that you own. That means you must create them and create them living. And that happens both in your spirit and your words and in writing. And that's what our fiduciary document is about. So for those who do the study on the fiduciary document, it states clearly that it doesn't matter what case the letters are in. And that's why letters have a case. It's like a court case. Did you create the court? Did you create the letters? And therefore, did you create the name of the person? And it can look exactly like that fraudulent thing, but when you create it, that means it's not that fraudulent thing. Mm-hmm. And that's the part that Moors in the past we honor the work that they were doing, because they just did not know that it was a matter of, if you didn't write it, they're not talking to you. However, anything that you see that's written, you can take full advantage and benefit of it by restating it and rewriting it and publishing it as a court action, as a judicial command.
Islam. We have so much power.
We're so powerful and so wealthy.
So powerful. So powerful. So I'm trying to get that into my brain.
Because it's in your blood. You got it already. It's just gonna keep coming. The more you, it's gonna keep coming. It's like rivers of living water coming from your belly.
Islam, I yield.
Yeah, it's gonna keep coming. That's the part I love about all of this. It's unstoppable. It's unstoppable. Justice Harold says in the chat, it definitely has to sink in. Yes, because all of your quote unquote life, supposedly, okay, our lives never end, but up to the awakening, we were made to believe that we were just powerless and that a system had control over us, when that doesn't even exist. That doesn't even exist. So this is the 1,000. This is the front of it. Dr. Yosef bin Yakinen is on this one. Let me show you the back of this 1,000 dolarium. Our money, I'm just so grateful to Empress Kenya for the work that she did, where she just freely gave to the nation. And that is something that our ancestors really, really acknowledge and reward when it comes time for us to start saying, okay, ancestors, this needs to be fixed and that needs to be fixed. When we bring our skills and gifts and talents and abilities to our nation, our ancestors never fail to come through for us. Because we're not just coming to the table with our hands out. We're bringing our gifts and skills and abilities and talents with us. This is the obverse of the $1,000 dolarium gold receipt. And again, that's Dr. Yakinen on the obverse as well. And the one that's just one of my favorites, and you all will know why when you see it. But I love them all. I love them all. Let's see if I can get this one on the screen. I love our money. I think our money is awesome. Let's see. Let's put this one on. Okay. This one is the $5,000 delarium featuring our Grand Sheikh Tajiri Bey. And yes, we did ask his permission before we put this here. Probably a year before we even decided to do delarium, we were telling our Grand Sheikh that we have to rebut the fiat. And we were just thinking about the different ways to do that. And so we didn't ask permission to do it from anyone. We just did what our ancient ancestors told us to do. But we did ask him if we could put his image on our money. And we were granted that permission, and for that we're grateful. And again, this is the Series A1 2023. And then the back of this one, or the obverse rather, for the $5,000 Moorish sovereign delarium is here. And again, they say gold receipt. And it has this is the crest for the Moorish American consulate. And then when the crest is facing the other way, it looks exactly like this, except she's looking to the right. That's the crest for the Moorish National Republic federal government. Islam. And then I'll show just a few more of these. That's the 5,000. Let's see. I'll show the 10,000. $10,000. Or either the let's see. And I'm just picking them out. And there are, let me see, we have just as many empresses on the Moorish sovereign delarium as we have emperors. In fact, let me show the one with Empress Berdiashi on it. I believe that one is right here. 50,000. Yeah, this is that one. So this one that I'm about to show it does not have the, it's got two flags on this one, but this was not the final. The final only has one flag on it, which is ours. So maybe before I even put that up there, I think what I'll do is just remove that other flag because it really doesn't need to show on there. And I have the other files with the proper delium on it, but let's see. Here. Let's do this one. This one is the 50,000. It has on the front. It has Empress Verdiashi Washita on the front of it. Let's take a look at that really quickly. This is the obverse, and then the front has Empress Verdiashi Washita on the front of it. And we did ask her son from the Washita Nation. We asked his permission if we could use her image on the money, and he did give that to us, and for that we're grateful as well. We're just so honored that our work has made it so that we could move forward and with just the oneness of our nation, of all the nations even coming together and just, because we're not at war. We've stated we're not at war with anyone. So when we're not at war, no one can stop us, period. We want to send our highest, will to send our highest honors to the Washita Moors, all of the different nations that are a part of the Washita Empire. We're grateful for you as well. Thank you in the chat as well. Our image is on the $100 more sovereign delium, and I will show that really quickly as well. Let's see. And again, at some point, maybe in 5 years, once the programming in the minds is after it sinks in with everybody that we do have our own money, we're going to upgrade, update. We're going to be constantly uplifting everything that we've done. And so this is the $100 more sovereign delirium, and then we'll show the back of it. Let's see. Of the gold receipt, and then this is the back of the gold receipt as well.
Even at 100.
Yes, indeed, nobility, indeed. And then thank you in the chat, Empress Imani and Justice Nada. And then we'll show, where's the Prophet Noble Drew Ali has one as well. I believe, I really will to show this one. Yes, let us show this one because many do not know the amazing work and the part that Empress Pearl Drew Ali, she is on our $20,000 Moorish Sovereign Delarium. So this is Prophet Noble Drew Ali's consort, wife, if you will, Empress Pearl Drew Ali. And we willed, as we were designing our money and letting the Spirit just lead us on the best way to do that, we found this photo of her and thought that, you know, yes, Prophet Noble Drew Ali is, I believe he's on the $100,000 Delarium. We thought that it would be appropriate to put her on as well because, you know, the matriarchs must be in their proper place as well. The matriarchs must be in their proper place as well. And so we willed to honor her. Justice Johnny, Empress Angel can send the files to me a few weeks back are different. They're really the same, Justice Johnny. They just don't have the words gold receipt and legal tender. They don't have this on them. You know, so some of the words are different, but the files are the same. These files came from the files that everyone has. The ancestors have just been showing us where record keeping is concerned, how to do the things that we're doing. But anything that we have here, because we're going to be writing or autographing our Moorish Sovereign Delarium, it would be easy to put a legal tender gold receipt number on your Delarium. You know, we made a place for it on our Delarium. You can easily write it, or you can screenshot these Delarium and use them. Screenshot them and print them out and use them. Here's our suggestion regarding Delarium. Delarium is a test to see that we are good stewards of our own money. So if you're going to buy or do an exchange, rather, on whatever you're going to do an exchange for, if you're going to do an exchange for something that's $50,000, you don't want to give them $500,000 or $1 million just because you have it. You don't want to do that. It is best, because it's a test. It's a test. Yes, it works. It's also testing our ability to be good stewards over large amounts of wealth, infinite amounts of wealth. That's all it is. Yes, the wealth is ours. Yes, it belongs to us. Yes, we can print as much as we will to print. But this is going to be us being ourselves the way that our ancestors were about resources. So you don't want to just throw it around like it doesn't mean anything, because he that hath a little, that will be taken. He that hath much will get more, because you've governed it and done the right things with it. Good record keeping is going to be important. So when you think about the game Monopoly, think about that game being real, because now it is real. Except this is not a game, this is real life. Yes, you have your own, we all have our own money together. And we are to be prudent, we are to be generous also in terms of helping others and uplifting all of fallen humanity. That's what this is about. And being wise, but also, you know, as I was preparing to make to do another exchange using Moorish sovereign delarium this past week, the property that we're doing the exchange for, it's not perfect property. It's not perfect property. It has some things about it that are not necessarily perfect, but those things can be fixed. They can be changed. And that's why we willed to do that particular demonstration on that piece of property, because we know we can change it. And if there's nothing we cannot change, obviously, because look at what we've changed so far. So if we did not have our own money, I would not, that's not, and I can't say that's not a purchase I would make, because I would make it. I would have still made it. I just know that we have the ability to upgrade everything that we do, to nationalize and then upgrade everything that we do. And that's what we're doing even with this exchange that we're doing, that we're finishing up now. So are there any questions, comments, wisdom regarding delarium and having our own money and things of that nature? Any questions, comments, wisdom? I'll put one or two more on the screen. This one has Justice Malik, El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz on it. Some people call him Malcolm X. When you look in the dictionary at the letter X, and actually not even the letter X, but when you look at look in a Webster's 1828 unabridged dictionary, and you look at the word Christ cross, when you look that up, it says that the letter X is the Christ cross. So Malcolm X knew who he was, but not quite. There were still some layers of information that had to be added to what he knew about himself. And so we willed to honor him, knowing that that's where that came from. So those who called themselves the X people, Malcolm X and Muhammad X and all of the other brothers and sisters who use those appellations, and I say appellations because I'm honoring their bloodline and birthright. Whether they call themselves Moors or not, that doesn't change their blood. They're still Moors. They knew that they were the Christ. They knew. And so we willed to honor them as well. And we'll show the obverse of that particular money as well. And it's interesting to us that they all have photos of them in turbans and fezzes. All of them have photos in turbans and fezzes. So somebody somewhere knew. here is the obverse for the $500 Moorish sovereign delarium, and it has El Hajj Malik Shabazz in his turban. So are there any questions, comments, wisdom regarding Moorish sovereign delarium? Islam nobility.
Where do we put the embossed the seal in the delirium? And the one I have, I think, got the gold receipts on them.
You said, where do you put the seal?
Mm-hmm. When you put the embossed seal on them?
I don't put a gold seal on them. I just emboss them.
Yeah.
So the seal is on there. It's just an embossment of the seal. It's not the actual like gold seal or anything like that. It's not that. It's just the imprint of the seal.
Yeah, but where do we put them on the delirium?
Yes, I usually imprint my delarium on the left side, but if it goes on the right, it's okay, because it already has two seals on it. So I emboss mine. If you don't have an embosser, you can still use delarium.
Islam.
Yeah, Islam. I emboss mine usually on the left-hand side, as opposed to, say, embossing over the face of whoever is on the delarium. I usually emboss either to the left or to the right of them.
Islam.
Islam.
Also,
No,
remember, this is private banking, so it's whatever you want it to be.
So let me clarify that you are correct. It's private. It's also public. Just like with everything else, it's public banking as well. However, Moors have the authority to do private banking with delarium. Oh, absolutely. In fact, it's the law. You can use gold coins, silver coins, or Moorish sovereign delarium. We prefer Moorish sovereign delarium because it's not as heavy as the gold and the silver. Because we've received quite a bit of that that we've sent to the Treasury. Gold and silver coins can be cumbersome, I can tell you that. And I never thought I would hear those words come out of my mouth. But after dealing with gold and silver, it's beautiful. We love it. It's heavy, and, all of that. So we prefer delarium. And plus, delarium, where sending electronic payments is concerned, what we do is, we print off some delarium, we autograph it, we put our right red thumbprint there, and then we scan it back in and attach it to an email with a receipt number and send it. That's an electronic payment. And then those that you sent, you just don't use that receipt number again. It is that simple to electronically send some more sovereign delarium. So the systems are already in place for us to do everything we will to do.
Islam,
Empress.
can you open the call up for Noble Love, please? He'd like to get on his phone.
Islam.
Thank you.
Islam. So with that being stated, people have, Where delirium is concerned, it is a very simple matter of us just demonstrating it and knowing the law regarding money, doing the study on money. And the more you do the study on money, particularly in looking back at the previous era's enactment, look back at what was done in your sleep where that stuff that they were calling money was used. Look at that and then know that everything that we're doing is both lawful and legal. Everyone knows that all the gold that's at the Grand Canyon, all the gold that's at the other places, any gold that you could dig up, any gold that's in the waters, we have the title to it. And so everything is connected to the land, and we're the land. And that's another reason why it was so important not to call yourself Negro, Black, Colored, and African American, because that's not connected to any land. No such thing as Negro land, Black land, Colored land, African American land, no such thing. There's lots of land called moors. It's everywhere. A moor is that place where land and water meet. That's moors. It's called a moor. And all boats are charged moorage for pulling up to the land and sitting there. Moorage. And in shipping and receiving and import and export, there's something called demurrage. Demurrage. And that's another tax that is charged if any shipments coming through customs stays in there too long, past the testing, or it sits there too long because it can't get cleared through customs. It's called demurrage. So everyone knows that moors and moorage, moor means land. It does not mean black. When you look at old dictionaries, the word moor doesn't say anything about black anything. It either talks about land or offices and us. Even the word Islam is another way to say land. Just like they say island, I-S-L-A-N-D, island. Well, why do they call that island? Why can't we just say island or islam? Why isn't that word island? Who made the S silent? Who did that? An isle, all the words that are spelled like Islam mean land. An isle, I-S-L-E, like the Isle of Man. Islam is just another one of those words that means land, and I'm not minimizing the word. Islam is a huge word because it also means I, self-law, am master. So no, it's not a little religion in a little tiny box that says you have to pray 5 times a day and don't eat pork. For some people it means that, and we honor that too. For us, it's everything. Just like the word Allah or Allah is everything. We get to state the meaning of our words that we use. No one else defines our words, we do. Let us all absorb that wisdom, that we each and all define our own words, and our words are what we intend for them to mean. That's why intention is the law. because you can do something and someone else can do the exact same thing. And if the intention is different, it's going to be seen differently by nature. We see that all the time in the funny mirror, or like on television and things, where one person can kill someone accidentally, and they receive a different judgment for that versus someone who maliciously and intentionally did it. So intention is the law. Someone inboxed me and stated that they no longer have to look to Hollywood to fund certain projects that they do. You're absolutely right. Hollywood is actually looking at us, because that's all that the U.S. is nothing but Hollywood. That's all it was. It's Babylonian. It's Babel. It's baby talk. Baby talk. It's baby talk. It's not real. With that being stated, Moors, be on the lookout over the next few days, weeks, months, etc. You're going to see things manifest exactly according to your word, to the things that you stated.
You've been saying the same bullshit for 3 years. You still don't have a conveyance. You still don't have a cell phone, do you, Pauline? No. Cell phone manifested for you, did it, bitch? How come none of that stuff manifested when you commanded it, Pauline? All your commands are followed immediately. Your commands are followed immediately. Remember, Pauline? Immediately. Everything you say is followed immediately, and it manifests right away when you say it. Didn't get First Avenue. Didn't get your cell phone.
Okay. So now we're over the next few days and weeks, continue to watch as everything that we've stated continues to manifest.
That shit doesn't work, and you keep saying the same bullshit over and over and over. Doesn't work. You know it doesn't work, Paul.
You all, that stuff gives me a certain type of energy these days that I don't quite understand why I get so much more motivated when I hear that stuff, but I do. I don't know why.
You don't use delirium in the grocery.
So now let's move to the topic of taxed or not taxed and prove it.
You're a big fucking liar. A big fucking liar.
When Moors were demonstrating and saying that they are not to be taxed and prove it, they were saying that previously. This is one of the things we saw, when we first woke up. This is just an observation. We were seeing more say that they're not taxed, but they were using someone else's military script. So it took us a minute to recognize this, but it sunk into us at the time that when using money, when using money, whoever's money you're using determines whether you're taxed or not. It's what they say.
When do you think Aisha is going to move back into that remodeled house, Pauline? When's Aisha going to get back to that remodeled house that you said? Come on, Pauline.
So, depending on whose money you're using, that will determine whether you're taxed or not. So again, for us, taxed or not taxed, prove it. How would you prove that you're not to be taxed? That's a question for the Congress. How would you prove that you are not to be taxed?
Islam?
Islam.
Islam.
Aisha ain't getting that domicile back. It's been foreclosed. She's been kicked out. It's not going to happen.
Go ahead, Empress Cynthia.
I would prove it. Number one is that I am not of their jurisdiction, and number two, I don't use their instruments, so I won't get taxed anyway. Islam, I yield.
Well, that's the best way to do it.
Oh, that coming from Trailer Park Cynthia. Trailer Park Cynthia.
That's very simple and to the point. Simple and to the point. Empress Angel was going to make a statement. Islam.
I affirm, yes, to write your own instruments and affidavits for use for tendering.
Yes. Yep. And again, it's a system. The system will do what systems are supposed to do. It's a system.
Islam.
Islam, Empress.
I'm going to answer with a question, only because I'm new. So, but I would think that possibly the birth affidavit as well.
Yes.
Correct. Okay.
On the public record, yes. Yes. That's all. That's all. It all goes together. All a very well-oiled machine. All of it together. Yes. There was a noble who was going to make a statement.
Yes, Islam.
Islam nobility.
Yes, under CMA's Zodiac Constitution, AA222141, which is Title 22, Chapter 2, Section 141, says that the United States relinquished jurisdiction. I forgot. I think it's 1956. So I live in America, in Morocco, Morocco North Gate. So they don't have jurisdiction here.
Yeah.
So why should I pay tax?
Yeah.
Yes. Not obligated. Islam.
Yes. And here's the thing about taxes, period. By the way, I don't click on that link in the chat. I didn't put that there. I booted out the imposter. But where taxes are concerned, the reason why taxes are voluntary is because they show allegiance to whoever it is you pay them to. Taxes is a statement of allegiance. It's a statement of allegiance. Okay, and that's good. Justice Harold put something in the chat. He said corporations cannot tax people. Corporations cannot tax people that don't use that corporation. But if people volunteer to use the corporation, you're volunteering to be taxed by that corporation. So how do you change that? You make sure that that place knows they're not a corporation. They're on your land. See, that's our job. That's what we have to do. We have to lien, levy, and bond, and then speak again, and then show that we have title to the land that it's sitting on, and all of that. That's how we do that. And again, these processes. This is the part that I love about what we're doing. This is the part I love about what we're doing. Is that we're making these changes over time because guess what? Everyone who's affected, which is everyone, by what we're doing, because there's nothing that stays the same because of what we're doing. Nothing stays the same. Everything changes because of what we're doing. Is the part that I love is that it happens over time. So we never have to feel bad about anything. anything that's going on, and the people that we're speaking to don't have to feel bad about what they've done either. Because, again, the only reason anybody was doing any of that acting was because the Moors had enacted going to sleep. And when you go to sleep, you first of all, when you go to sleep, everyone else lives the American dream. And you don't, because you're asleep. That lets you know who the real Americans are. The ones who were asleep. And everybody else was living the dream. Living the dream. Think about that. Whose dream?
Islam.
Islam, nobility.
A tax is a tribute to a sovereign because we're home. And any former occupiers on our land, they should be paying us tribute.
Ooh, and we're going to show you how to do that part too. We're excited about that one. That one, we've reserved that for, upcoming, because we will that more get the initial paperwork so they won't be confused about why and how we're doing what we're doing. But the ancestors have already shown us how to acquire it doesn't even matter what it is, doesn't matter the price or any of that.
They showed you how to get
We can get everything, anything that we will to have is ours for the taking. And taking is a Fifth Amendment word. It's a Fifth Amendment word. So we mentioned a few weeks back, we mentioned the Internal Revenue Refund Report. That is a study that we are preparing to present. I'm not sure yet if we're going to present it on this platform or if we're going to come in person, face to face, to the different territories to present it, because it is, first and foremost, it requires, as with any great wealth, it requires that we have the prerequisites in order before we start receiving all of this stuff that's waiting for us. And I heard a sleeping Moor say this the other day. There's more stuff in the spirit realm that is waiting to come to manifest into this natural realm. But that wealth would not dare come here unless it come by way of us being ourselves. So the things that we see is not even a little bit of the actual wealth that we have. The conveyances and domiciles that we've been seeing are nothing compared to that is waiting to manifest. However, we must have dominion, and we do already, over all of the things that we do see first, and then the other stuff will come. So if you can think of the biggest house, the best conveyance, car, automobile, vehicle, whatever you want to call it, carriage, whatever it is that you can think of that's so awesome because you've seen it, there's things that are a trillion times better that have not even been allowed into this dimension until we bring it into this dimension, because it will not come unless it's dominated by us or unless we have expressed and demonstrated dominion over it. So, and some of you may have even seen some of that stuff in the spirit realm, some of the technology and things in the spirit realm. Our ancestors have so much for us, but they want to keep you stuck on a cell phone. That's why we're not worried about. We chuckle at that. They want to try, oh, she don't have a cell phone. They don't see what's coming. That's like going onto the railroad tracks and you're picking out a little piece of gum on the railroad tracks, but you don't see the train coming, and it's 1.5 miles long. But they keep pointing out that you lost your piece of gum on the railroad tracks.
We see rejection, foreclosures, and eviction.
Of course you see that in your future. You're seeing that now for you. Of course you do. We're not surprised by that. You're finally telling the truth. We're not surprised by that for you. That's not for us, though. We're not, that's not our future. So, you know, it's the little foxes that spoil the vine, though. See, if we would have let a cell phone stop us, if we would have capitulated for that, then are we fit to govern trillions? Are we? I say yes, we are fit to govern. Our state is huge. It is unknowable by the human mind. The God mind knows it, but the human mind does not. How vast our state is.
Islam,
Empress.
you mentioned earlier the lien, levy, and bond. And I just simply have a question. So I completed lien today and got all of that completed. Is the lien, levy, bond, is that all one process?
No, it's not all one process. Mm-mm. So then they're connected to each other, but you can take them in stages.
Okay, so because I'm trying to get clarity on what it is I'm actually doing. So if I did my liens, now I need to levy, and I'm not sure if there's a separate document for the levy and bond.
There is, Empress. However, when you do the liens, just go ahead and get the liens out there.
They're there, okay.
Get them out there because that part right there is in reality, even according to the lien process, it's a 90-minute or 90-day process in terms of once you put it on the record, over the next 90 days, certain things happen. The system begins to move things around in your favor, of course.
Yes.
And while that's going on, and again, you can, like these days, I do lien, levy, and bond all at once, but it took 7 years for me to get to that point, which it won't take you. You could do it today if you really. We have, it's already out there. The templates and the process and all of that is on the public record. In fact, let me just show you really quickly where you can find that lien, levy, and process and bond all together. And this is for everyone, for those who will to see that process. Just a moment. Let's go to our channel and show you that process really quickly, where you can find the link to that process. That's going to be let's take a quick run through these videos. It's a 43, I believe either 43 or 47-minute video. Here it is right here. This one. Where we did an actual lien, levy, and bond, and we just showed you the process, and then we put a link to the documents here. And lien, levy, and bond. But we actually showed you the lien, the levy, and the bond, what they look like on the screen, where this particular demonstration is concerned. And again, this is only 47 minutes video, a 47-minute video, 47-minute video, where we just went straight through lien, levy, and bond, and just showed you what they look like. You already have the letterhead. Here, let's put I'll go ahead and put this link in the chat. There's the link in the chat to this video where we just showed that process. And when you see the process, so the levy process is only 2 pages, and they're 8.5 by 11. 2 8.5 by 11 pages. The levy process is where the Internal Revenue speaks, and we know we're the Internal Revenue. That levy process, even though it's only 2 pages, it's very powerful. When you do the research and the study on levies and what a levy means, and who enforces a levy, that process is a major part of getting everything back. The ancestors have taken us line by line and precept upon precept through this process. That's why it took us 7 years, but we're shortening the learning curve, remembering curve rather, really, by putting everything that we are learning out there for the most part, everything that we can put out there. And the things that we don't put out there, first and foremost, don't think you don't know it, because you do. The Spirit has told you already. There's so much information that we have at our, they're just tools in our toolbox. And those tools are just to enrich and to make wealthier and to make better and stronger, faster, more powerful, and all of that, the things, who we really are. The levy process is going to be a key process when it comes to the Internal Revenue refund reports that we're going to be demonstrating for you, that we're going to put on the public record. It may be a few weeks before we get finished with our own presentment for it, because we will that the presentment be in a particular order. The lien, the levy, and the bond. And then the bond process is also, when we started looking back at some of the things that we put on the record, like the 1099 acquisition and the 1099 original issue discount, all of that plays a part together in proper claiming and prepaying for anything. And here's the thing, when all those processes are put together and pared down competently, and then our nationality is put with it, there is no car dealership that can tell you no. They can't tell you no, because they know the stuff is not theirs either. They can't say no. They cannot say no. There's no realty. It'll be just like Bill Gates sent the paperwork in the enactment. It'll be like they sent the paperwork and the people just said, well, he said it's his. Okay, here's the keys. We're very powerful. And it starts first and foremost with the processes that we've shown you thus far. Those 6 documents where nationality is concerned, that's the start. That's the start. And then the 40+ documents that we've shown, that we've given everyone the links to, the reason for the 40-something documents is so that over and over and over you can hear and see and know and absorb in your spirit and put it on the public record for everyone else to know that you know how powerful you are. Because, see, people were banking on you not knowing. See, they've always known. You're the one who didn't know. You didn't remember how powerful you were. And that's the purpose that's another purpose of those 40-something documents. It's so that you know exactly where your power comes from within you, because it's your blood. That's why they kept in the church industry, and I'm saying church industry because we are specifically talking about corporate churches and not real Christians. We're not talking about real Christians. We're talking about corporate churches. That is why they kept putting emphasis on the blood of the Savior, the blood of the Savior, the blood of the Savior. And those 40-something documents point you right to. And that's why the birth affidavit and the birth certificate that we create is a part of that process. So, with that being stated, tax or not tax, prove it. You all have done that. The AA 222141, because we've all restated it, that is a not tax status. And now that we're using Delarium more often, let me say this about the use, because I have a demonstration coming up with Delarium where with this particular demonstration, I'm going to be having someone who does not know all the and I'm assuming they don't know. They might know already who we are. And what we're going to do is hire them, have them to do some work. But before we have them do any work, we're going to sit down and we're going to write out the contract. We know that they have contracts and stuff. We're going to write out the contract, and this is what we're going to do. We're going to, they may or may not know that fiat is not lawful. But our job is to demonstrate who we are. So what we're going to do is sit down with them, and this is developing as the ancestors lead us. It's developing. It may be a little different from this even by the time the ancestors continue giving us more information about how to demonstrate our own money. We're going to have them to do something, and this they will know before they do anything, that this is how we operate. We're going to have them to do something. We're going to write out the contract, and the contract is going to be a double booking contract. It's going to be a double booking contract. A double booking contract is where we give them, for their work, we're going to give them what they think is bank credit or fiat bank credit. They think that that's what that is. When you see things going across the bank, people just automatically assume that it's nominated in U.S. debt notes. But what we're going to do is whatever the price is that we negotiate, because we're gonna negotiate the price. We're going to get a bank account number from them, and we're going to put in the contract that the contract is in more sovereign delarium and gold and silver. But we're going to do double booking where we're going to give them more sovereign delarium. And they don't know this yet. They don't know we're going to do this yet. But we're going to give them 3 times the amount in more sovereign delarium. But we're also going to give them the bank credit that they think is fiat. But we've already shown that our account is not nominated in fiat. It's nominated in gold receipts. So that's what the double booking is going to be, is we're going to give them physical dollars in Federal Reserve debt, in more sovereign delarium. We're going to give them physical more sovereign delarium gold receipts. And then we're going to transfer that amount in bank credit, which is still delium for us. And that is going to be received by them as whatever they say that payment is. So what we're doing is making it so that whenever we give out delium, that the delium and the bank say the same thing. The delium and the bank account say the same thing. We're going to transfer the bank credits and then give them the delium at the same time, even because that's what was going on in a previous era, is whenever people gave someone debt notes, they would just assume in their minds that it was connected to banks. And so whenever they went to a bank, they could deposit that in a bank in the previous era, in that enactment. We're doing the same thing, but with more sovereign delium. And we've shown in previous presentments that our account is nominated in more sovereign delium.
Islam,
Empress.
The double booking, would that be similar to the same process as digital? How would I say that? Digital, how would I say that?
No, it's not. It's not the same as like a digital banking. It's not the same as that.
Okay.
What it is double booking simply means that when I give them the more sovereign delium, I'm also going to transfer that amount from my account, because this is my account, and it is nominated in more sovereign delium, as you can see. More sovereign delium. Everything is nominated in more sovereign delium. Okay, and we're encouraging everyone to send the documentation so that your accounts are nominated in more sovereign delium gold. So everything that's happening here is about gold. My account, this is what a gold bank account looks like. Okay. Everything is more sovereign delium. And this is a legacy account. But you know, to get to this point now, it was quite the test to get to this point. But our ancestors know what they're doing with us. They know what they're doing. We just had to trust them as we were going through this process. So everything that we have is more sovereign delium. This is the ruling that we did as a Congress regarding when we did the demonstration where we were there was a detainment, an enacted arrest, and we did a lawsuit, and we awarded ourselves $100 million by way of court action. And so we're putting all of this into our bank accounts. This is how our bank accounts are working. Here, let me go back to the other account as well. So everything is nominated in more sovereign delium gold. And what we're going to do is continue demonstrating this way. because we're supposed to absolutely write our own checks. Like this check right here is one of the checks that we wrote. We crafted the check and we deposited the check into our account. Just a moment. Let me take a look and see. Here it is right here in February. And we sent it by mail, by government mailing. And then let me just show you what that looks like. We showed you how we crafted our own check. And then just crafted it. And this is an image of it, but we showed you the actual check that we crafted ourselves, so that we take control over our banking. We must have control of our banking. And we have it already. We know we are aware of that. So once we updated and upgraded the account to a legacy bank account, which it says that right here, it is a legacy bank account. We were always supposed to have legacy bank accounts. But let me say this, Morris, I'm going to tell you this about this particular demonstration. When we put a lien on the nom de jure war name, there were certain things that happen when we do that. Everything that was done in debt, there was a 90 days where everything that was done in debt had to stop and be changed over, not changed over, but done away with, and the new system had to implement. So in February, when we sent the check, it was for $27,700 and something. When we sent the check, a few days later, maybe about a week later, because we had successfully demonstrated how to craft and create our own checks, and the system said, okay, they did this right. There was a 90-day period where I did not have access to this account, because the systems were changing over. But then when it was time, when that 90 days was up, I signed back on to my account, my legacy account that I created, which is this, and everything that came in after that was properly named, or properly named. So for example, before I sent the paperwork and the documentation to say, hey, I'm not a citizen, I'm a national. I'm who I am. We've been here. I did not know even at that time that it was called a legacy account. That came about later, and then once we said, okay, we're supposed to have legacy accounts, the system did what it was supposed to do. And so the 90-day period where I did not have access to this account, at first I did not quite, well, I had already made up my mind that I'm going to demonstrate who I am no matter what. I knew that. However, I did not know how this whole demonstration was going to turn out. Let me say that. But when you demonstrate, you may not know right away what that demonstration is going to look like when it's all done. But that cannot stop you from demonstrating. It cannot stop you from demonstrating. You must still demonstrate. So For that time period, we were not sure. We did not know how it was going to turn out, but our ancestors knew that if we just trusted them and trust the process, that everything would be what it should be, exactly what we said it should be. Okay? So we just willed to make that statement, and then once you successfully demonstrate whatever it is, the ancestors are going to elevate you. They're going to elevate you, and really you're elevating yourself to the next demonstration, whatever that next demonstration is. So just be prepared to be elevated, really. Because at each level, you're going to see things that you didn't see before. Yes, Justice Sharif, you know when you get the remedy. You will know it in your spirit that, yep, you did that right. You'll know. The spirit will tell you. Loud and clear, you'll hear it just like you're hearing me. The spirit will tell you, okay, yep, you did that correct. Now, go and do this. Or like they said, go sign on to the account now. It's available now because the 90 days has passed. You've done everything. You trusted the process. You trusted the process. I just kept demonstrating and kept going forward. So from February to the beginning, to the end of May, I didn't have access to the account. But when it was time and that 90-day period was up, because our Prophet Noble Drew Ali said that at some point the economy is going to grind to a halt, and when it starts back up again, it starts up in the favor of the Moors. That is what has happened. But we had to trust the process. Be willing to, if you have to do without something for a little while, do without it for a little while, but trust the whole time. Trust. The ancestors will show you how to navigate that. They'll show you how to navigate whatever it is, whatever your test is. They will show you how to navigate it, and then once you do it, you'll just know that, okay, it's time to elevate some more, time to move up. And I could tell you what the next demonstrations the ancestors have shown us, how to do them. We'll show that later. Right now, we know that it's important that each and every one, the 40-something documents, of which those 6 documents, those first 6 nationality documents, those are part of that 40-something document. Declaring your nationality is the key. Islam nobility.
Islam. Can I get a back bar with you after the chat?
After Congress.
Yes.
Sure. Islam. Islam Empress.
May I clarify my understanding what you were referring to, and it just slipped my mind, so I guess I'm thinking too fast. Give me a second.
You're asking all the right questions, Empress, just so that you're aware. Because others have those same questions they may or may not know or may not feel comfortable asking them. So I'm glad that you have the matriarchal strength to just speak.
Yes. Okay, it came back to you. So the account, the legacy account. Okay, so for us who are new, we don't have a legacy account. So do you recommend something like a Excel spreadsheet where we can kind of keep up with whatever the things that we're doing?
That is a necessity.
Okay.
That is a necessity. Us having our own court records, because that's really what all of this is. We bank judicially. And so having our own records is key. That's the start of it, so that as you're going from the legacy account, from the regular account to the legacy account, that that there's continuity of governing of the resources. That's just a wise way to do things. So prepare your spreadsheet so that as you go from the accounts that didn't properly identify you to the one that is the legacy account, that there's continuity in the records. During that 90-day period, and Empress, I really want to thank you for that question, because it's clarifying even for me exactly what was happening. I knew what was happening, but I didn't know how long it was going to be, not knowing that 2 or 3 years earlier we had already stated that there's a 90-day period when you do a lien. Fortunately for us, when we liened the dead Pauline Denise Ritchie that was created by the dead, the ancestors said, okay, we're gonna give her a hint that after a while that thing has to be shut off because it's a debtor in order to introduce the creditor. That account, the previous had the same number, what looked like the same numbers and everything, Empress. But in order for a legacy account to manifest from what looked like a bank account, we had to do the lien, levy, and bond on everything, and then let the ancestors choose the time through us, choose the time for that 90-day period to happen. But during that 90-day period, because I did not know if I would ever have access to the account again, in my immediate knower, I didn't know that. Of course, my spirit knew it, but I didn't. As soon as that thing went off, I said, well, I'm just going to have to get my spreadsheet and make sure that I'm updating everything on my spreadsheet, make sure that I have my delarium, make sure that I have everything, and then I'm just going to go about demonstrating. That was what I did during that 90-day period for banking, is keep my banking going, which was necessary. So yes, definitely. When you start getting your own records, your own banking records, and start using your delarium and sending it out in the mailings and things, when you start doing that, you are calling forth your legacy account. You're calling forth a legacy account however you do banking. However you were doing banking that was most comfortable for you, you're calling that forth as your legacy account. So if you had a bank account with, let's say, Bank of America, and you nationalize that account, because that's really what we're doing, is nationalizing everything. When you nationalize that operation by lien, levy, and bond, and then collecting your records and making sure your spreadsheet is proper, your Google Sheets or your Excel spreadsheet, or some use Access and whatever program you use to keep track of your delarium. Once you start doing that, you're calling forth, you're saying to the universe, you're ready to govern your own bank account. And then the system and the matrix and all of that will do as you command.
That's all. So I know that this is a little an appearance of being, I wouldn't use the word difficult, but just to identify with at this particular time. I think it's just slightly intangible right now, but I think it's once I get to, get in the process of things, and then it will become clearer.
Of course it will, Empress. Your spirit is telling you the exact truth. Yes. So don't worry too much about it right now, but
Right.
just know what's ahead of you. Our job as a prophet, because we are a prophet because we can see out ahead. Our job as a prophet is to state what's out there so that everyone can prepare. That's what Delarium was about. That's what all of this is about, is what's coming. And what's coming is access to an estate so vast that we had to have an infinite way of expressing it. That's what legacy accounts are about. Legacy accounts, you can show $100 million in a legacy account and it won't be, it won't throw up a bunch of flags and tax people running around and all of that stuff because you're the tax people. You're the internal revenue.
Love that part.
Yeah. And that's what the levy process is it's on internal revenue letterhead, and it's you levying something. We must know how to do that, because that's where everything is going to be coming from. Levy means possessing. Lien is the claim saying this does not belong to whoever was saying that it belongs to them. It actually belongs to us. The levy is possession that says, okay, now we've shown you that you're the debtor and we're the creditor. Now we're going to show that that belongs to us by levying it by way of the internal revenue. And once the internal revenue has levied something, there's still some time that happens in between there, but everybody knows to start packing bags and getting out of your way. And then you bond the new property to you, to the land and to you.
Wow.
Those are financial. See, people didn't realize that, you can talk about it all day, but to be about it means to do the proper financial process to show that it's yours.
Confirm that part as well. If I may, yes. I was just thinking about a way possibly to expedite the from the 90 day to minimize it. If we launch our processes by way of linking the original, let's say, tracking number or account number to our processes, as far as if we did our lien, let's say for when we did our nom de jure, and if we did it years ago, and we have a number, account number that's associated with that, when we launch it to any particular process that we're doing, like that, expedite the process as far as things going through the system.
Mm-hmm.
So, and Ranchik says something. I don't know if I was watching him from his last meeting that he had on this past Friday or not, but he had said legal is consent.
Yes.
And so when we know that we are the ones who always was, in that funny mirror, giving our consent, when we remove our consent, then it automatically comes from the funny mirror's perspective and what was enacted. It becomes illegal.
It's not automatic. It's processes that do that.
Well, yes, but initially when you do your declaration of nationality, you begin to do the removal of consent.
Yeah.
And so when we do our processes, we are the consenting, age majority, and we consent our own processes. So therefore, we make it legal by the virtue, and we are the lawful people. So with all that combined, we can expedite processes. Oh, and also by adding the law. When I sat down with Deacon and Justice Nate about the Brentonwood law, that was put on the public record. And going back in my mind and going over all the banking things that we have done, I was like, my word, like, what? This is powerful. This is beyond, like, oh my goodness, like, wow. Is by virtue just that easy when we look at all that has been done. By our consent, we make it legal. And then by understanding that all the processes that we have done thus far, and I'm speaking to the new Moor who's coming on, and the importance for study of the previous videos and all the affidavits and writs and, you know, everything that has been done when doing your demonstration, like, be encouraged to add the law that the laws, because we have gone and done quite a few laws. Whether it be the takings clause, the what was it? The fungible law, the Brentwood law, the removing actors law. We've done quite a few of them, and they're all applicable to when doing your demonstrations and putting the subjects on notice that we know who we are, and even referring to the Congresses with the link is also I call it added weight to what it is you're stating, whether you do it in a presentment affidavit, or you go ahead and you just you know, do a clip from the videos and where which we do the law and vote on it, or however you desire to demonstrate it. But notice the public record that this is the law, and definitely make it work for your favor.
You because you're demonstrating what you put on the record, you can do it however you will to do it, and then demonstrate it. What we do is we put the process out there. Whatever the process is, we put it out there because of the study that we all do and things of that nature. Now, there may be some who want to take a shortcut and shortcut it the other way. You're sovereign. You can do whatever you want to do. You have to stand on what you done, what you did, what you're presenting. And that's the purpose for the processes. The purpose for the processes is so that later on, when you come back, or if someone else comes back and says, hey, why did you do that? Then you can say, this is the process according to, and again, the Fifth Amendment due process. This is why these things were done. And so, you know, some people, you know, their spirit says, take a shortcut and do this and do that. You're sovereign. You can do that however you choose to do it. It was our job, our responsibility as government, all of us, and particularly this Congress, to put the processes on the public record. And then, you know, demonstrate those processes too, because we're demonstrating right along with everyone else. The ancestors give us things to do, we demonstrate it. So, however you're led to do it, be able to just be able and be aware that you must stand on whatever it is. If your spirit says take a shortcut at this point, no one can tell you not to take that shortcut. But your spirit will know that you can demonstrate that when it's time to demonstrate it. So be comfortable with that.
Because there's enough evidence on the record that we are who we are, and just going over the flash drive, I found some information, and I'm like, wait a minute. Yes, this is that part. Like, it was done for something else, but see, because how we process, like, we see something, and then we're automatically shifting to make it applicable to how we feel it to be for our benefit. So, because I don't see a closed door. When I see something in favor for us, I'm a maneuver it and make it work for the situation at hand. So I was like, wow. And then half of the stuff that was in the that particular file, I'm like, we've done this document, that document, this document. We haven't done this document. And then I'm looking at the content of the rest of the affidavit, and I'm like, well, we do this because we are the court. We do this because we notify that. And it's like, my goodness. And so,
well, the process is so that we don't skip steps. The processes that we put on the public record, there's no stone left unturned. When you put the 40+ documents, which include nationality and fiduciary responsibility and all of that, when you put that on top of, or actually as the foundation of everything else, we don't miss a beat. Our ancestors do not miss anything through us by way of the process. That is why our ancestors required that we do processes so that we don't miss anything, so that there can be no question. There's a reason why Article 1, Section 6 of the Constitution states that we cannot be questioned anywhere but in Congress. And that's because there's no reason to question us outside of Congress. Because we put the process in place for everything that we're doing. The process answers all questions. It's like the Biblios. The Biblios says that money answers all things. I know a lot of people don't even know that's in the Bible. Money answers all things. So when we put the proper process out there with the right money, there's no reason for anyone to question us. We were always, we were brought up to question, quote unquote, question authority. Well, there's a reason for that. If we're not the authority, we should be asking questions.
Exactly.
Until we know that we're the authority, and then we don't have to answer any questions because the process that the authority puts out there will answer all the questions.
Right.
I've had to demonstrate that several times in terms of handing, someone some documentation, and the first thing they want to do, hadn't read it or anything, and they got questions. I just say the paperwork, once you read it, it answers all questions. And you know what? That works every time. It works every time. Because they're standing there and hadn't read anything.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. However, your spirit will never mislead you. Your spirit will never mislead you. The only time I see, I find that people are misled is when they're leading by ego or anger or vengeance or, any one of the 7, quote unquote, deadly sins, greed, anger, sloth, envy, jealousy. Yeah, all of that stuff. Those 7, the 7, quote unquote, deadly sins. That's why we always say clear energy before you do anything. And once you clear your energy, and even while you're doing it, continue clearing energy. Even when I'm having conversations, like when I'm demonstrating and I'm having a conversation with someone during my demonstration and issuing commands and issuing the law, I'm constantly clearing my energy even while I'm doing that to make sure that I'm not speaking out of anger or anything. And then if there's something that, if there's a pause in what I'm saying, the ancestors always fill that space with the right things to say. you know. So, yeah. However your spirit leads you, is going to be right for you. Governing is about offering to the public record the processes, having others be inspired by what they see, and then having them apply it in the way their spirit says apply it to what they're doing. Knowing that there is a basic foundation as to how things are done, and that's according to the law. That's why it's so important for us to put the law on the record. And to do that with everyone in mind. Everyone in mind. Everyone. Islam. We talked about this the other day, about that whole doing business. We will to emphasize, and we won't go back through all of this, but we will to emphasize that we're not doing business at all. We're doing judicial commerce, judicial mercantilism, meaning that all of our commerce starts with court actions. Delarium was created by court action. And that's why it's so important for us that we've been opening our Congresses with the court action language so that everyone knows that the things that we state and that are here are court actions. So when we create in this place, in this location here, when we create in this jurisdiction and this Congress, that it is being done by court action. And here's the thing, this is the point. The point of this is that when you do things judicially, you cannot be taxed. Courts cannot be taxed. A court cannot be taxed.
Islam.
Islam nobility.
Can you explain that?
Sure. Let's go back to what we were talking about a couple of weeks ago. We looked at the California Corporations Code. The Corporations Code describes doing business as entering into repeated and successive transactions of its business in the state other than interstate or foreign commerce. And this is the part where courts come in at. While it does not list what activities constitute doing business, so no one even knows what doing business really is specifically except us. It says the statute provides a non-exclusive list of activities that do not constitute doing business in California. In other words, when you're doing business, it's a tax code that applies when you're doing business. But whenever you're not doing business, you can do commerce and things. Here it is. It says the things that do not constitute doing business are A, maintaining, defending, or settling any action or suit or any administrative or arbitration proceeding. So in other words, whenever you're doing things judicially, because suits and actions and administrative proceedings and arbitration proceedings, all of that's court. All of that is court. That's court. Maintaining, defending, or settling, those are court terms. So when we're doing things judicially, and we do everything judicially, just about, yeah, we do everything judicially, then you're no longer classified as doing business. And because you're no longer classified as doing business, then the tax code does not apply because you're not doing business. You're doing commerce, your judicially trading and exchanging. And that goes back to which court is it that's ministering the exchange? Well, you are the court that is ministering your trade, your exchanges. And because you're not using someone else's military script, they cannot send their military to your door and kick in your door and try and find and collect things and start taking out quote unquote evidence and things. They can't do that because that is not what you're doing. You don't have anything to do with them. In fact, it's not even that you don't have anything to do with them, it's that they are in their proper status, which is subject to you. Because see, whenever you hear the word subject, that word is someone must be subject to the law. Well, who's the law? We are. So it takes you right back to what we're saying here about courts cannot be taxed because courts are not doing business. Courts do exchanges. We do exchanges. We're the law, we're the court, we're the government. That's why there was a Department of Commerce, quote unquote. We can do commerce. We can state that our commerce is not taxed and it will not be taxed. Because in order for our commerce to be taxed, guess who has to tax it?
We do.
Period. So that's why the levy process is so important, Morris, bringing us back to taxation. The levy process is important because it is the internal revenue, which is us, taxing that which belongs to us because the taxes have not been paid. So we levy that and then we do with it as we will. So that's another reason why courts cannot be taxed, because we're the courts and we're not going to tax ourselves. Someone asked in the chat even about let me go back a little bit to the account piece. Someone asked, can they do the same with Navy Federal Credit Union and Wells Fargo and Bank of America and all that? It's not even a matter of can you, it's a matter of you must, because that's not who that is. You must be Navy Federal Credit Union and Wells Fargo and Bank for America. We are all of that. We're the real banks. That other stuff is fake, and you must expose it as fake and then present the real. So a lot of times Morris will ask, can we do this and can we do that? And it's the law, we must. That's why we don't have to ask for permission. We must. Okay. Noble Phoenix put something in the chat about commerce. What is it? How it differs from business and trade. That's what we're stating. That is exactly what we're stating. That doing business as is not the same as commerce and trade and exchange. So yes, Noble Phoenix is putting something in there that absolutely affirms what we stated. And that's why using our own money is so important. We're not going to tax our own things. Now, something I'm seeing about the future of where we're going, there are those of us, all of us really, when we're all thinking properly, straightly, and doing things straightly, and I'm saying that because there are some who haven't awakened yet to their authority. There are those of us, me specifically, who are going to volunteer to be taxed, because number one, I'll be taxing myself, and number two, it will be to assist the Moors who have not gotten to where we are yet. But that's because our business is so massive and our profits are so massive, and what we take in is so massive that those who have not gotten to where we are or who cannot see what we see in terms of our wealth, we will have programs that will assist them. Those programs are funded by taxes. Taxes are voluntary. There are some of us, I know I'm one of them, I'm going to just say it, who has so much money that I can state, okay, I'm going to give 10% of everything that comes in to government programs, to fund those government programs. So our brothers and sisters, as they're waking up, will not have to keep going back to a system that won't help them because it's not a real system. And we have so much already that funding of those programs is going to be where we get our joy from. Our joy will be seeing brothers and sisters eat who still may not know who they are, but here's the beauty of that too, and I'll just let you know our real motive. Our true motive for funding the programs is that we get to say what the programs teach, what the programs show. So yes, we're going to have it so that they get to see videos of our Grand Sheikh Taj Tariq Bey teaching and others teaching and showing processes and the Empire State statements that were given on Thursday and all of that. All of that will be fed through to them, just like television was, and they had certain things on repeat. That's how programming happens. That's why it's called television programs. They had things on repeat where they would repeat certain commercials and certain shows and certain videos about rappers throwing fiat everywhere and all of that kind of stuff. Well, we're going to be putting all of that on repeat for us and our money so that our heirs will come into the knowledge of who they are very early. Yes, we're going to fund erudition, which some call education. We're happy to fund it. We're going to throw money at that so that they can do case studies and things in the 3rd and the 4th grade and the 2nd grade and things of that nature. So again, taxes are voluntary, but see, those who know about what taxation really is, especially when you're as wealthy as we are, we're happy to be taxed. And we really, again, we tax ourselves. That is why when things got tight in the funny mirror, now hear me when I say this, because I used to wonder this myself. I used to wonder, why are they saying that? When things got tight, and as we stood up and things, we would hear those actors who were acting as Elon Musk and Warren Buffett and all of them they started saying, well, we'll pay taxes. You can, I'm happy to pay taxes. That's what they started saying, even though all that time they were not doing anything. They were zeroing out everything to include the actor that was acting as Donald Trump. None of them were that's why they were saying, show your tax returns, because you would see a big fat zero, and not just a zero, but it would be millions in deductions that they were taking. And we're going to show that process. So then when things got bad, they started saying, well, you can tax me. I'll pay taxes. I'll pay taxes. Why? Because if they paid taxes, they knew that they had to say so over the schools. But here's what happened. And see, that's why when our Grand Sheikh talks about the General Education Board and the Rothschilds and Rockefeller agenda, they got into acting as schools and things and purposefully let the public school be dumbed all the way down. And they took their kids out and put them into the private schools and things that they funded as well. We know the strategy. We know the strategy. We know the strategy. We know the strategy. The strategy is put your money where your mouth is. That's the strategy. And in order to do that, you have to have your own money. And that's why I'm so grateful for all that this Congress has done to approve our own money, to vote on the things that we have voted on, because we have literally created our own vast, wealthy, abundant, prosperous future. Our heirs will now be able to get erudition instead of animal husbandry education. And we're not even mad at animal husbandry education. It did what it was supposed to do when it was supposed to do that, which is wake us all up. That happened. So are there any other questions, comments, wisdom? Justice Nadunk, did that assist you in learning, not learning, but in knowing that it's about the courts and how courts are not taxed for this very reason?
Yes.
Just be the court, and you don't have to worry about taxing. When we go, Islam no bill.
From what I understand, we're non-obligatory about taxes. We're not obligated to file taxes, and I've never filed taxes in my life. So I'm 73 years old.
You probably didn't, and this goes for all of us. A lot of us weren't filing because we weren't going to get much back anyway. We didn't really have much to file about.
Islam.
But now we do, and that's the part we're doing the study on right now. Our own study right now is all the credits we have, all the money that we left on the table that we're now picking up. And that is what the internal revenue refund report is going to be about. And I'm actually excited about sharing that information. But we're going to do some, putting some things together first. We want to get all of the information put together in a way that is that makes it simple and clear to understand and overstand. We left a lot on the table in the previous era. We left so much on the table it wasn't even funny.
Islam.
Yeah, Islam. It's clear to me now why banks always wanted to see tax returns. They wanted to be sure we was leaving all that on the table so they could claim it. And they did. They did. They claimed it. When we start looking at that thing the right way, that piece the right way, we will know why everybody else got so wealthy and we were still sitting up looking like whatever, wondering what the heck is going on. That people could come to the land here, and I'll say here, and get super wealthy while the ones who've been here the whole time, who never had problems with immigration, and we're sitting up on food stamps. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with food stamps because we're going to implement that program. We've already implemented it. We are funding it now. We're in the process of funding it. It's already funded. And they were looking at us giggling and grinning. And we're not even mad at them for that. We're not even mad. That's why most of us, and I won't, there's in the chat, I see someone who said, yes, I stopped filing. Didn't have anything to file about. So we thought. But I can tell you this, if you live in a one-bedroom apartment, if you were domiciling in a one-bedroom apartment, and you know how to read, you're a millionaire already. If you know how to do affidavits and you live in a one-bedroom apartment, by the time you get through with your tax return, your bank account will be so thick and full, you'll have millions in your account in less than a year. Less than a year. Millions. People like Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and all of those other actors were using the Internal Revenue System as a gigantic, unlimited bank. And that's why they used to say that if the bank owes you a lot of money, then they would say if you owe the bank millions, then the bank is in trouble, and if the bank owes you some money, you're in trouble. If they owe you and they don't pay you, you're in trouble. But if you owe the bank millions and millions, then the bank is in trouble. And that's why they would always let those guys slide. They don't have to pay it back. Let's forgive the loan. Let's do this and that. And then they would pounce on all the little people. Why? Because they would look and see that all that money that the little people left on the table, quote unquote, that they left on the table, a one-bedroom apartment, and you know how to write affidavits competently. Just donating a bag of clothing to Goodwill could have got you thousands. And we sitting up wondering how we going to pay a $75 light bill that we weren't supposed to be paying if we knew how to read. Not like that. Islam nobility.
Oh, that was a mistake.
Islam. I know Empress Imani and those who put that in the chat, I know for sure that our ancestors did not let us go too far into all of that filing of taxes and everything because of what we're about to do. But again, the introduction to the wealth is the lien, levy, and bond process, let me tell you, because everything is connected to that, to our ability to do that. Our wealth is connected to our ability to do that, being in our proper person, of course. So nationality first, and then comes all the other stuff, all the finance and all of that. You can literally create money out of what seems to be nothing when you know how to use the system. Those people did not hesitate. I see why everybody was running over here. I see why.
Yeah.
And as we continue showing that part, we never really even needed Wells Fargo and Bank of America and all of those things. We never needed them. We never needed them when we have the Internal Revenue. However, that model is a good model. It's a good model. And we're including everyone else at whatever levels they're at. And that's another reason why that's a good model. Moors, you're so wealthy that sometimes I get a little dizzy thinking about how much money you all have. I get a little dizzy when because I'm looking at the process and I'm like, They probably have no idea. We're going to continue to manifest it. It is not an overnight process, but it's a now process. Let's keep going. It's a now process. Get the 40 documents if you can get them done. Get them done. You don't have to rush through them, but please know them and know what they're saying. Know what they mean. Absorb it into your spirit. Ensure that you know who you are, because as you continue to demonstrate who you are, the wealth is going to manifest. It's already here. Been here. It's been sitting around collecting dust, waiting on us. And we're here. It doesn't have to wait any longer. That internal revenue thing, I didn't realize how huge it was. But think about this. The quote-unquote Treasury and the quote-unquote Federal Reserve, those two entities, and I'll just say those two actors, had fiat spread out all over the world, and everybody all over the world, no matter where they went, had to answer to the Internal Revenue Service, quote unquote. They were complaining about that because people would be out in the middle of nowhere in the Philippines or out in the middle of nowhere in the backwoods of Australia, and they would receive a notice from the Internal Revenue Service saying they owe some taxes from 3 years ago. And they thought they slipped away into the backwoods and got away. Ooh, Empress Angel, what in the world is that you put in the chat? Nation.
Islam, yes. Noble Love put this in one of our groups on Telegram, and I went, briefly read it. And yes, it is saying how there's a new South African nation that is going around and jailing people who have any type of fiat in their possession because they are so set up and done with fiat because they only want to do and use gold. So they are doing what they're supposed to do, because it's a crime to use it. It's a crime to have it. You're going against, the law.
Islam. Woo! That is powerful.
Huge.
Very powerful.
I affirm Islam.
And literally in this country, it is illegal for you to be doing what you're doing because you're fighting against your own form of government, the Republican form of government, right? And you're fighting against your nation state by being a U.S. citizen and just having the fiat in your pocket. So when they arrest you, if you got no ID and you just got fiat in your pocket, that is a reason for them to arrest you by itself. Right now, it's been that way the whole time. We just didn't know about it. Now, the other countries are executing on that because they've gone to the gold standard completely. So keep that in mind. That was I think that was referred to as trading with the enemy, or was that what it was called? Trading with the Enemy Act.
Yeah.
I think that's what that was called. And that's really what was at the core of that, being in a U.S. citizenship status. Now that we've come out of that, okay, you got a conflict of interest if you claim to be out of the U.S. citizenship, but yet you're still using that currency. Because that's, again, relate that back to what we've been talking about with taxes. The main reason you were being taxed is because you were using private script of that corporation, not your own money.
Military script.
Military script, thank you.
Yeah.
Military script.
Yes.
That's why you were being taxed. So if you signed up and you said, okay, I don't want to be taxed no more, then you got to stop using that fiat, period. Otherwise, you're subject to taxes, period.
And that's no matter where you were. No matter where you were. And now listen to the language, Morris. It says a draft document released by the Bank of Zambia. A draft document means it's not the law until the Moors say it's the law, just so that you're aware, because we use that word a lot. In other words, anything that's out there that we have not written and signed is but a draft. It's not the law, it's a draft. A draft document released by the Bank of Zambia on Saturday revealed that individuals, now that word individual means someone who doesn't have a state, or who's stateless, not stateless, but they are not a part of, they're not governing. Let me put it that way. They're not governing, they're an individual. Individuals caught using foreign currency for local transactions could face up to 10 years in prison or substantial fines. Isn't that crazy that they're going to fine you? What are you going to pay in if you're using that? What are you going to pay in? How are you going to pay the fine? That's a treadmill rat race as it is. You would literally have to get your hands on some of their money to pay their fine. So Morris, let us know that fining people, listen, first let's look at it from the perspective of the fiat piece. If they're telling you that you owe fiat and you pay fiat, you have not paid the debt. You've increased the debt. You've increased it by however much you paid. And by the same token, Morris, all these people are saying, let's just say, for example, that delium was this new nation's money. Let's just say that as an example, because it might be, and we venture to say that it is. This new nation, let's say they use delium. What they're saying is the same thing we're saying, isn't it? Aren't they saying the same thing we're saying? Essentially, what they're saying is that thing is not lawful and not legal. That's what they're saying. Not lawful and not legal.
There's one. Oh, and in reverse, what you were speaking about earlier about why people come here to this great contiguous landmass for the benefits and for all the things that we have so great and rich of. But they was mostly coming here to send back home from where they came from things for their family to use. So let's say you have like a whole bunch of for lack of Africans, like when we are the Africans, or people from the continent of South America, right? And because I see a lot of them around at Land of Nod anyway, but they was mostly sending back money so they could help their families and such. So what are you sending back now for them to have? Right. You can't, and then so now you're going to have a lot of people here, working for what? Because there's no exchange rate for the dollar anymore, is there? Not that I'm aware of, because they don't want it. Because if somebody has to exchange it, that means they have to take it into their inventory. So if there's no exchange, so if nobody wants that fiat anymore, no one's going to exchange it anymore. So that means you have a lot of people working here and can't send anything home anymore because, they over there haven't figured out like how to, sometimes I'm just making, a guesstimation about, people needing to know how to do the exchanging of not from the fiat, but into a sovereign, currency.
Yeah. These people are doing exactly what we have commanded on the public record. I will say that.
We affirm.
They were waiting for us to do it.
And isn't that after we did the Bretton Woods?
Yeah, it was actually, this was, well, see, it has to do with BRICS, and BRICS is a couple of years ago.
No, but I'm talking about the fact that we put Bretton Woods on the record, and then this article came out.
Yeah, the article is a July 3rd article. We did Bretton Woods on when was Bretton? Well, we agreed on Bretton Woods before this article came out.
Mm-hmm.
And then Bretton Woods was put on the record last Sunday. So yes, it was before this article. Yeah. So it was actually about a week and a half before the article, because we agreed on Bretton Woods on last Thursday. And then it was put on the record on Sunday. And this came out the 3rd, which is a couple of days after that.
Yep.
Yeah. So,
Empress,
yes, Empress Gloria.
Okay, and she mentioned the Telegram, whatever. There's some stuff that I do follow on that. And I would say a benevolent one, about 2 weeks before the end of June, says, look up at the sky. In the next 2 weeks, it's going to be a certain sign up there, very important. Guess what the sign was?
The
With the cloud, it was the X everywhere in the sky. X's all over.
Really?
Islam.
That's the Christ sign. That's the Christ cross, is the X. Someone put in the chat something about all so-called banks are trillions in losses. What they're calling them is unrealized losses. That's the name of those losses that they're calling them in their enactment. So this is yet other reasons why Moors, fortunately, the ancestors gave this Congress the foresight to go ahead and get ready for all of this and be ready, and not just be ready for it, but lead the charge, lead the process in terms of we've had Delarium on the record for years now. Years now we've had our own money. Years we've had our own money. And now everyone is like, okay, no more fiat. So let's keep going with what we're doing. Our next thing is Islamism.
I don't want to break the chain, so I just want give one more report on the land of the U.S. Corporation Supreme Court overturning their 1986 Chevron Act, and which is demonstrating that they left the lawmaking to the individual corporations on policies for their business with people. So their corporate Congress was not making laws, it was the corporations themselves making laws. So another breakdown of, and truth coming out at what has happened to everyone on the planet. Islam, I yield.
Yeah, thank you for that, Empress Cynthia. That was around the time when the actors acting as Supreme Court began issuing what they called opinions. Not laws, opinions.
Well, they say they weren't making the laws at all, that they left it to the corporations. It's called a Deference Act.
Yeah.
Yes. So what were they doing? Taking a vacation while the corporations just decided, okay, well, we like this rule and we'll enforce this on the people, and and everyone else approved that their congressional well, I don't want to say what she said, but the U.S. Congress. So anyway, it's a great demonstration. I do believe this is from our work, and that everything is being brought to light, and everyone can see, where we've been and what we've been under, and we can make our choices from here, and on how we want to proceed with our lives. I yield. Islam.
Yeah, Islam. That's what all the work was for, Empress. That's what all the tears that that's what all the coming together, the unifying, the making the laws and things, that's what all of that is about. And now we're moving to that level that we've all been seeing in our own mind's eye, where our wealth, we literally can see it manifested in this realm. With that being stated, we will adjourn this platform until Thursday. Peace and grand rising to the sovereign, original, indigenous, natural, divine heirs. Islam.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
Islam.
Grand rising.
Islam.
Islam, peace and grand rising.
Gratitude, Empress Angel, Islam.
Islam.
Peace and grand rising. Islam.
Empress Angel, you sent the link regarding your statement for the Empire State. Is that something that you put up on YouTube?
I did, but I made it private, only for those with the link to view it until the 4th, when it was to be put on the record from the Congress. But it's all. I think I can make it public. I think on my YouTube.
Okay. If you'll do that, then we'll be happy to view it and add our support.
Okay. Thank you.
Islam. Justice Nadine, I'll be with you. If you'll sign out and sign back in, Justice Nadine, then I'll be happy to sidebar with you regarding whatever it is that you have.
Okay, I'll try it. But if we get disconnected, because I already got disconnected from the laptop, but I've got you on the phone. So
okay.
I'll try it again.
Yeah, go ahead. Islam. Thank you. Islam, and we will adjourn the platform in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you, Empress. Gratitude. Islam.